get them uploaded to our website within a day. I see Nancy was very first one that joined us today. Nancy, can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine, Russ.
Very good. I see a couple more people coming in, but I'm going to go ahead and start the session. If you wouldn't mind, if you have a speakerphone, if you could mute that for me, it'll make the audio a lot better. And the drill on these sessions is we're going to present for about a half hour. I think I can finish up in maybe like 20 minutes. And if you just hold off and asking questions, I'd appreciate it until the latter half, and then we can go ahead and address each and every one of those questions. The story begins back in TradeSoft as far as conversion. And you'll notice that we've removed the conversion button here. So we no longer will convert a ProjectPAK estimate from TradeSoft. We no longer bring up that separate window where we list down all the rows of the estimate. And what we've done is we have moved conversion into ProjectPAK. And I think that makes a lot of sense. One of the problems we had with the old conversion utility, really it was the problem we had with ProjectPAK. We could only accommodate X number of rows. For some people it's 50,000, for others it was 55,000. Well, with 7.0 we've removed those types of restrictions. We've got that addressed. And the other thing was when we had the window as a separate program running between ProjectPAK and TradeSoft, is it may take a little bit of time to fill that window up before you could then put in your directives and convert the job. So by moving it to ProjectPAK, we've eliminated that because chances are you would have had the job up anyway. Okay. So let's go back to TradeSoft for a moment. So again, we're not converting from TradeSoft. We removed that little icon that used to be there. Let's go ahead and look at TradeSoft options, estimate conversion. And this window really hasn't changed that much. And what I'm going to do today is point out the differences because most of conversion works exactly as it did prior to 7.0. You're going to see up here a new directive called scope. Very simple. We're either going, and again, I'm setting up my defaults. These will flow into ProjectPAK. You can always override them, and we're going to do so many, many times here in the next half hour. But this is basically trying to set the context of this particular conversion. Am I looking at the entire estimate? Am I just looking at the base estimate? Am I looking at change orders? Or perhaps I am specifying particular folders over in ProjectPAK that I want to convert over to TradeSoft. Okay? Now, in the prior version of the conversion utility, you probably remember you could go in and highlight various rows, various sections. We don't really have that capability anymore, so this is what we've come up with to provide that kind of functionality. Okay? This is pretty much the same as it was. What are my job items going to be based upon? And if I pick a particular job item directive, then I'm going to have X number of work orders that I can create based on that selection. So that hasn't changed either. However, if we look up here for a quick moment, you're going to see some new items. You're going to see summary tree levels. Okay, product items. Well, product, as you probably well are aware of by at this point, we no longer call them in groups. We call them products. So just change the nomenclature there a little bit. And then the work groups. Kind of changed the nomenclature here a little bit, but this hasn't changed. If you want to base your job items on a work or a work group, so be it. That hasn't changed. Okay? So the real thing to get used to, and we're going to spend some time here in a couple moments doing several conversions, is this summary tree level becomes very, very important in allowing you to carve out what constitutes a job item in ShopPAK, and under that job item, what constitutes a work order. Okay. So we'll spend a good bit of time looking at these various options. And so, again, these will just flow in based on your choices here. Now, there's a couple new things that we've added, guys. Down here, we've got fill product location. We have fill material location. I don't know if you've discovered this as of yet, but in ProjectPAK, let me go back there, it'll probably make more sense. In ProjectPAK, we've got some new columns. And if I whip over here to the right, there it is. We've got actually drawing. All these are new, but location is one of these new columns, and it's a smart column in that it trickles down. So if I come in here, let's say to room 132, and I put room 132 in here. Whoops, I'm excited. That should be coming on down, trickling down. So that, much like you in ShopPAK, you know how that works with dates and certain fields. It trickles down. So going back to ShopPAK options, if you want ProjectPAK conversion to fill your products automatically from the ProjectPAK location column, you go ahead and check that. That makes sense for your conversion run. Similarly, we actually have two fields in ShopPAK work order materials, and one is called room number. I think one is called elevation, perhaps. Well, this will fill the room number. Okay? Very similar. Here's something else that'll make a little bit more sense when we go back to ProjectPAK, but we can fully qualify work order names with their parent folder names. I'm just going to hold off on that for a moment and show you what that's all about. Here's something else that's new, work order instructions. Before, what we would do is we would take the row notes associated with an item back in ProjectPAK, and we would use that to create the work order instructions. We've expanded upon that. We've had some requests over the years to make this a little bit more powerful, a little bit smarter. And so what you can do is select any number of these options, and the conversion utility will go ahead and grab the associated notes from wherever you're pulling them from, stack them up, and put them in the generated work order instructions. So this is basically the way it worked before, provided, like for example, an in-group. If an in-group, if that was the basis of your work order, it had row notes, it would automatically come over. We just expanded upon that. Now, if you have comments distributed among the rows that make up what constitutes a work order, then the descriptions in those comments will be gathered up, and we will jam them into the work order instructions. Job spec category choices, job spec subcat choices, same thing. We're going to gather them up and put them into the work order instructions. Okay? So that's about it over here. Just remember, before you start doing your conversions, you probably want to figure out what makes the most sense for you most of the time. Go ahead and update these defaults, and they'll flow into ProjectPAK. Okay, let me minimize ShopPAK. Let me come on back here. Let's see here. Okay. Talk about how we're actually going to do conversion. In your ProjectPAK, since you all have ShopPAK, you should see this tab. If you're ProjectPAK only, no sense showing that. You're not going to see it. However, you also have to have the privilege of doing conversions. Again, a ShopPAK security setting. You've already set it up, so I'm assuming that each and every one of you who had that privilege is going to see this tab. Let's talk about this a little bit longer. So if you think back to the old conversion utility, we just removed some of those controls and we put them here because we did away with that program. ShopPAK target job. This is just like it used to be. Am I creating a brand new ShopPAK job? Am I adding to an existing job? In other words, I'm going to add new job items to that job. Or this third guy, am I adding new work orders to an existing job item? Works just like it did before. Okay? Work order creation. If you recall the way the old conversion utility worked, you could set a flag to say all of these work orders that are coming over, they should be marked as original. In other words, they're not change orders. They're part of the original job. Or you could mark them as being change orders, depending again on how you're using conversion. This is much the same. We can either say that that decision of whether or not we should treat the work order as a regular work order or a change order, it's based on the tree. What does that mean? Well, hopefully by now you've learned that the estimate tree here is carved into two main areas. At the very top, and you'll always get this when you create a brand new ProjectPAK estimate, is something we refer to as the base bid. This is where you would start every brand new estimate. If you need, over time, if you had some change orders that come into this estimate over time, then you want to create specific tree nodes called change orders, and then you would add product here, custom items, cataloged items, whatever, just like you would do when building a regular estimate. Okay? Now, if you are sending information over via this conversion utility and that work order tends to live or is living within the context of a change order, then based on tree means that is going to be marked as a change order. Makes perfect sense. So that based on tree then is going to use the position of the information to determine what the work order is marked as, original job or change order. Now, if you want to override that, if you know, for whatever reason, you've got change orders here and you're sending them over to ShopPAK, if you want to override it, that's fine. You're going to want to use that radio button. We want all the work orders to be marked as original work orders. Conversely, you want everything marked as a change order. Pretty powerful, easy to use, right there. Only consider rows never converted before. Usually the default is this is turned on because we don't want to send rows over to ShopPAK multiple times. That's going to play havoc. However, there are situations where you do something wrong, you delete that ShopPAK job, and you start again. And in that case, as I've been playing with it this morning, you're going to want to turn that off in order to get those rows. Again, no change from before, but just here's the placement of that control. Now, to get the ball rolling, you're going to want to hit this button, Conversion Options. It's going to look very familiar to you with a couple changes and a nice enhancement that I'm going to talk about here in a moment. Here, we're going to have all of your default settings from ShopPAK flow into this dialog box. And if this job is like your vanilla conversion, you're in good shape. You're not going to change anything. You're good to go. At that point, you're just going to hit Convert Estimate. So let's take a look at a couple of these guys. The defaults come across. They fill it in accordingly, but I can certainly change things on the fly, and it's only going to be in effect for the session that you're running ProjectPAK in. So if you close ProjectPAK, come back into this dialog box, this will look just like your ShopPAK options. But during the course of your session, if you change something, it's going to remain changed until And I'm not talking about closing the estimate. I'm talking about closing the entire ProjectPAK executable. Okay? Let's take a look at what I think is probably the most important change that we've made with conversion. And it's this preview area. So if I hit preview, job item, and work order creation, this is a little WYSIWYG. I can't say it's going to be perfect in all cases because sometimes it requires so much effort to determine this that is doggone impossible to correctly lay out the work orders and items. But about 98, 99% of the time, you're going to get a good accounting of what it's going to look like. And this is great because I don't know if this has happened to you, but in the past, sometimes you send information over to ShopPAK, and this might consume 10 or 15 minutes. You know, you got to open it up, you're thinking about it, and it isn't right. And you can certainly change how that tree looks in ShopPAK, but sometimes it just makes sense to start over. I think this is going to eliminate that because it's a little WYSIWYG look at how that job tree is going to look. Let's play around with this a little bit. Let's say my scope is the base estimate. I'm not interested in any change orders. I'm just going to send over base estimate. And remember these 4 choices flowing in from ShopPAK. And then I'm going to have my job items based on the first summary tree level, and I'm going to have my work orders based on that very same thing. And I hit preview, and I have a look at it right here. So my first level is based on summary tree. You know, I'm sorry, guys. Let me okay out of there and open this thing up and make a little more sense. Just open these up. Okay. Let's try that again. Conversion options. Yeah. So we're saying that my job items are going to be based on the very first summary level in the tree. That would be this guy right here. So room 132, job item. Room 141, a whole slew of them here. Job item number 2, et cetera, et cetera. And we're saying that all of the rows that constitute the job item, they are going to create one work order. And much like before, the only difference is instead of dealing with things like totals, subtotals, and sections, which are gone now, we are going to do the same thing via our summary rows. Let's look at a different approach. Let's say we wanted our job items to be based on the first summary row, but we want our work orders based on the secondary or the second level of summary rows. Let's take a look at that. Okay. Now we had to make this guy pretty smart because sometimes you are not going to be consistent with how you lay out your hierarchy. For example, room 132, I have products that live directly under room 132. However, I do have a couple summary levels that have been embedded as child summary notes. That's fine. What's going to happen here if I show products? It's going to be smart enough to go ahead and it's going to put these products where they belong in the hierarchy. Okay? Now let's try another one here. I'm going to go down to, I don't have a 4th level. Maybe this is your default, but you only went 3. If I generate this again, it's smart enough to figure out that, gosh, I don't have 3 or 4 levels deep. It's going to work its way up and find the applicable level. So the good news here is, you know, I think it's important to be consistent, to lay this out in a correct manner. However, sometimes it's going to be impossible. But the conversion utility is smart enough to sort it out and get you a hierarchy in ShopPAK that makes sense. Okay. Now, let's take a look here at, let's see, first, second, one second, guys. let's make this this. There, okay. Here's another new feature, and now I finally found the right combo to show it to you. Qualify work order names with their parent folder names. We always are going to encourage our customers when they lay out these summary level nodes to make them descriptive. However, if you're running a conversion and you are tapping into these lower level summary nodes, for example, base cabinets. Well, you might have base cabinets under room 132 and all sorts of parent level summary rows. And when you look at that job tree in ShopPAK, it's going to be confusing. So if that's the situation and you're not explicitly bringing over these higher level summary rows that would explain where these base, in my example, where these base cabinets were, then this is a handy little feature. And you can see what it does. This is really what we went after, this second summary tree level, which is right there. You know, there's number 1, there's number 2. You can see what it did. It appended it to its parent summary node. So when you get over to ShopPAK, you're going to see a work order that's named like this. That's going to be much more explicit than had we turned, well, let's just turn it off, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's go ahead and run it again. You're really not going to know that base cabinets is part of room 132. So that's something that I encourage you to play with on your own a little bit more. Okay? So let's go ahead and hit OK. When I come back, it's going to tell me the scope. It's going to tell me what constitutes a ShopPAK job. It's really everything that makes up the base estimate here and the job item. Okay? And then I can run conversion. Let's just let me go back here again. Do base, first, second. That's what it should look like. I got 5 items. I got 2 work orders and then 1. And we go ahead and we run it. It's going to be a lot faster than before, guys. Just as we've sped up all of ProjectPAK, we're tapping into the same routines. It's already done. Let's go back to ShopPAK. We'll open this guy up. Here he is. There are the 5 items. I expect 2 work orders. I got them. And all these other ones had 1 work order. Okay. Go back to ProjectPAK. Let's say that wasn't quite what I wanted. Let's say, for example, that you really want to, maybe we're doing things incrementally. Maybe in your world you send over the job and then you send over the pieces as they're phased into the job. How would you do that in the new world? Well, what we would do in that case is we're going to set our options. That's fine. Job items. Or, I'm sorry, the scope is based on selected folders. And the job items, we'll just say they're the same bit. They're based on the first level hierarchy of our tree. We'll just say that this is based on the second level again. Now, if I come here, it's going to give me a little friendly message saying, can't show you it because you haven't shown me the folders you want to base this conversion upon. So I say, OK. You'll notice that as soon as I return, this window looks a little bit differently because now it knows that the scope is by my selected folders. So I say, yeah, OK, I want this one. I'm going to hold down my left mouse button. I'm going to drag it over here. Okay? Now, it's smart enough, guys, because believe me, if you grab this, you've grabbed everything. So if I try to grab this, I warned you, it's already there. So maybe I want to do these 2 rooms. Okay, that's it. I want to convert these 2 guys. I want to use the, well, let's go back here. Now, okay, now if you wanted to do a little look ahead, it has the information it needs. So this is what it's going to look like over in the conversion area, or when we convert over to ShopPAK. Let's go ahead and convert it. And it's done, 1193. Let's go back here to 1193. Well, I'm expecting 2 items. Okay, and there they are. All right. I think I wanted to check here. Let's go back to ShopPAK. Did I get my room filled out? I should have. I don't see it though. Go back to ProjectPAK. Version options. Let's say fill product location. Dare I say we might have a problem there, guys. That was working before. I see that the time is almost 1:30, so that was essentially it. I would say as way of summary, again, the big difference being conversion is done from ProjectPAK. You'll be able to go to this tab when you bring up a ProjectPAK estimate as long as you have the authority to do a conversion. Okay. The other thing being, we are really driving this. Well, we can still drive job items and work orders from work groups. A lot of our customers find that very useful. They might base a job item on one work group, the work order on another one. That hasn't changed. You can base it on product, the old one, products, in groups. You can still do that. Here. That's going to be a pretty big tree. Come on. Products. Oh, I see my problem. I thought I was freaking out here for a minute because I'm looking at all these products thinking I got a bug. But my scope is selected folders, so I'm only looking at a subset. Okay. I startled myself there. So, so that's pretty much as it was before. But again, the main difference, guys, is these summary nodes. We have done away with total. We've done away with subtotal. We've done away with grand total. And that's really how you probably organized your old way of converting if it was based on these row types. Well, now all that's gone, and we're using the tree. And so the summary nodes play a very important role. And I suspect that if you're not converting by work group, that you will probably find some number of summary nodes to base your conversions upon. Okay? And then besides, there's a couple extra little things here you might want to play with, experiment what makes sense for you as far as what constitutes a work order instruction. And really the rest of it has not changed. So with that, I see it's 1:30. I'm going to just okay out of there. As I give it some information here, make him happy. And I'll turn it over to you guys if you have some questions for me.
Ross?
Yes, I hear somebody.
Hi, this is Laura with Phoenix. Question for you. In the past, when we would convert, if we didn't want a certain part to convert, we would hit the ignore button. Now I see we're going to use the slide it over into folders to convert, which rocks. My question is, once it's been converted like that, and we want to bring over the next set, let's say we're doing it in phases, phase 1, phase 2, or floor 1, floor 2, how would we go about doing that once it's been partially converted like this?
Okay. It's a great question, and I appreciate that rocks comment. I think it rocks too. Okay. Just like before, when you do a conversion, we had this column in version 6.1, and we have it still. So when you convert certain summary nodes, rows in general, you're going to see which ones have been converted. And really, it's going to be, and if you make a mistake and you try to convert it again, in other words, it looks something like this, and you go to attempt, maybe some of these had already, mistakenly been converted, you didn't check that or something, it's going to warn you. And if 500 rows have not been converted, they're going over, and the ones that had previously been converted, they're not coming over again, so there's no duplication. So essentially, what you would do is when you're ready to bring over that next phase, maybe it's nurse's station, you just would do so. You would just drag it over. And now I've already converted this whole estimate this morning, so I'm going to turn that over or turn that off. I'll hit convert estimate, and it's done. Okay, so it's pretty much going to be the same way. It's just a matter of iteratively sending stuff over on the tree. Now, I don't color it. I was just thinking it might be nice to color this, but I don't. Ultimately, what you need to do is check this to find out which summary nodes have been converted.
Okay, as great as that is, we do something a little different. Once we've converted a job, you know how you have it as 1194 South Davis Hospital, we would give it a new number, a number that reflects who the winner was of the bid and then the year. And so that being said, when I would go in the past, I would be appending the job, and I would be doing that obviously in ShopPAK. So now I'm curious, since I changed the name, it's going to come back over into ShopPAK as a new job, isn't it?
Well, I think what we're missing here, that's true if I was doing it this way, but I think what I failed to show you in my little example is that we would be adding to an existing job, and if you change the name in ShopPAK, you'll just pull up the appropriate job, and you could change that name every other day. You'll just look for it again, and you're going to add to the existing job, it sounds like.
Yep, that's perfect, and once again, it rocks.
Okay, appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, I think the good news there is this probably doesn't look that different from what you were doing before, and that was by design. Obviously, a lot of changes under the covers. Let me ask you all a question. Has anybody already converted some jobs, and what's your experience?
Hey, Russ, it's Dan with iWood. We've actually converted several of them and have had no issues whatsoever with it on the conversion part of it, so it's very nice. We like it. Thank you. And your preview job item screen, you're right, that's a great tool just to be able to look at it and say this is how it's going to come over. So we're very appreciative of that nice feature.
Appreciate it. Yeah, usually I can't take credit for things. Usually I'm nothing more than like a giant ear listening to smart guys like you. But this actually was my idea. And you know when it came up is when I was porting all this code over, and it was not fun. And I was thinking to myself, you know, I'm tired of going to ShopPAK to see if this thing looked right. And it bought me another month of work. But I think this is great. I think it's a wonderful new feature. All right, any other questions on converting ProjectPAK estimates? All right, guys, I'm going to assume that means I've done a wonderful job. I'll go ahead and sign off. This has been recorded in case you want to revisit it for whatever reason. Please do so. Remember the help files now here, the user's guide. Actually, this is going to be in the ShopPAK user's guide. There's a whole chapter on conversion. It's all been updated, so if you have any questions, certainly consult that or give our friendly folks on the help desk a call. Guys, I want to remind you that we've added a new session for next Thursday to go over our new Find dialog box. We've had some questions on this in support. It's very powerful, apparently not too intuitive. And we've added that as a session. I doubt if it's filled up yet, but you might want to consider that. And the other thing that we've changed, guys, is when you're switching stuff out via edit, replace library item, we've had to change that as well. It apparently isn't as intuitive as we had hoped. You got to get back over in the tree and mark your contact. So anyway, those items and a couple other ones have been scheduled, so check that out. And again, if there's no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. We appreciate you taking a little time to spend with us today. Hopefully that cleared up any questions you might have had. I'm going to ask one more time. Any more questions, or should I say adios?
Adios.
Adios.
Adios. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.